So to start us off, let me just give a general impression of what exactly a policy is. I believe that is going to be the foundation upon which this webinar is premised. All the several policies that I'm going to discuss about seek to achieve one or more of the following, but through definition. A policy has been defined as a formal set of principles or rules that guide decision-making and behavior within an organization, a government, or a system. But of course, in our case, we are talking about policies in reference to a law firm. So we are going to outline how certain issues should be addressed and help ensure consistency and accountability in a firm. Now, I will start off by explaining why exactly do we need these policies. Number one, policies create clarity and consistency within a law firm. They provide clear guidelines on behavior, clear guidelines on processes, and clear-cut responsibilities of the participants or the staff members in a law firm. Policies will also help in legal and regulatory compliance. They will help in risk management, of course, averting risks. Policies, which is also fundamental, will help in increasing productivity and enabling efficiency within the firm. Of course, they streamline tasks. For example, client intake and time trackers, file management, and so on. So without going through the entire list, of course, fundamentally, succession and continuity planning of the firm has to be captured in a policy. Now, this takes me to a particular question that we were discussing earlier on with the moderator, Madam Karen. Now, Karen was asking me whether the firms within this jurisdiction, do firms strictly have policies upon which they base their decision making? Do all these law firms in Kenya abide by a particular code that is uniform either within themselves or uniform across board? But I think the general consensus or answer to that question was that most firms are not run by policies. Most firms are not run by policies, and it turned out from what Advocate Asbion was telling me that in a fictional but highly believable survey that was conducted in Kenya, 60% of the people interviewed admitted that their staff policy manual is, into brackets, or I quote, whatever the managing partner feels that day. So that is the main policy that is running most of these firms. So allow me to go straight to the policies, and I will start with the client relationship policy. Now, like all other policies, this is a policy that has got a particular structure. It has the policy title, the purpose of that policy, the responsibilities of each party, and of course, the person who is approving that particular policy. So we will not be able to run some of these policies so you can see them, but ultimately we shall have them displayed or captured in the book. So the client engagement policy seeks to establish guidelines for how the law firm engages with clients. It seeks to ensure that all relationships are conducted ethically, professionally, and in compliance with legal requirements. So what is it that the client engagement policy document should contain? It should contain the client intake procedure. It should also contain the conflict of interest check aspect. It further goes on to provide for the scope of representation for any client working in. What is the scope of work, so that you do not have a client expecting you to run the entire case from the lower court to the Supreme Court on the initial fees that you had agreed. Just to brush over the rest of the items, the client engagement policy will also talk about fees and the billing procedure. What are the responsibilities of the client, the confidentiality in it. It will also talk about the fee arrangement. How is the fee going to be paid? Now, this would sound so obvious that even without a policy, you can actually do this. Or even without a policy, you've actually been doing it. But what is the long-term risk your law firm runs without this particular policy, for instance? The long-term risk, of course, is it is an area, it is a potential area for dispute, or conflict with a client. So we have a sample of that particular policy. We will display it at the opportune time, but it's also among the several policies that are in the book.